What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Monday Night Football stream. We have just kicked off. Depending what medium you're using here, I'm having some trouble with the NFL app, which is annoying. Jalen Hurts playing despite being sick. Geno Smith, I believe active, but I believe it'll be Drew Lock who we actually see starting. So an exciting game. A huge game with playoff implications in the NFC. No doubt about that. And, oh, good. I just broke that. And that's acting weird. Why is everything being weird tonight? Come on. Man, trying to watch a football game. And this is what we do now. All right. That was way more complicated than it needed to be. But let's see if we can't get this thing to work now. It is broken, so that's dangerous. Could fall down at any minute. All right, third down, and I'm at 13, 22, 21, 20, if you're looking for it. Kenny G, what's up, man? Thanks for jumping in the chat. We are rooting for Jake Elliott to just bang a 40-yard or longer field goal on the first drive so I win my fantasy playoff matchup, right? Yes, absolutely. If that'll get it done for you, absolutely. I assume nobody else playing in this game, just the kicker then, huh? And round one of the playoffs, also an assumption by me, but I believe we're only at round one. There you go. First down, you're at the 40-yard line. Pick up a couple more yards, you're good to go. Let's kick a field goal. Also, let me know if you got any bets on this. Much to Kenny G's excitement, I think this is a field goal game. I think Philadelphia wins it. So I took the 5 points in a dreary, wet Seattle, Washington. I took the 5 points with a sick quarterback and an injured quarterback going against each other. Kenny says, this was a team I lost Chubb and no Tyreek Hill this week. So to get this win in the first round feels like it would be huge. That is huge, dude. You lost both those guys and you're still fixing to win your first round matchup? That's impressive. But isn't that the story every year? Best teams are the ones who go out on the... Oh my God, his whole face mask came off. I've never seen that before. They have a backup helmet for him? Get out. I don't believe that. Okay, we'll see if that'll hold. I do need the Eagles to kick it back into gear here down the end, down the stretch of the season. I've got too many friends who are Eagles fans to be dealing with all those sad people. Kenny says, yeah, I picked up the Baltimore running back for this week, and he tore his ACL, so I think I need someone next week now. Jesus, man. Maybe don't pick up anybody on the Bills, please, Lord, because I cannot have your little injury curse making its way to my team. Got your own little Madden curse going on there. Crazy weekend in the NFL. 2 of 3 really good games Saturday. Historic game Thursday. Games down to the wire. The ones that mattered down to the wire on Sunday. And it was just a fun NFL weekend, I think. Dude, James Cook, how did he drop that for sure? TD, dude, he balled out anyway. Like even with that drop, he is a guy who I don't think believes he's as good as he is yet, so he still gets a little jittery. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have that supreme confidence of like I'm that guy. Um, and it's because his time in college he was never that guy. His time in Buffalo they've been hesitant to be like you're the guy. Um, and that works on your confidence a little bit. Nobody will admit it, but it works on your confidence a little bit. And so I think a couple of those drops, some of those things that he did, some of those things that he does, um, will are things that will start to go his way um, as he continues to play exceptionally well and believe in him. Believe in him, Smelf. Eagles with an excellent opening drive here. Philadelphia just pounding right now. And the Seahawks look like a 6-7 team who's lost 4 in a row. I mean, they were in such a good spot a month ago, and they have just fallen apart. Oh, I do not like that flip from Hurts, but you can tell he's just like, I just don't want to get hit. I don't feel well. I don't want to get hit, and I don't blame him. Let's see. Kenny G, I know he did. I was like, you are making all these plays. How the heck did you drop that pass in the second quarter? Yeah, and it's happened a couple times over the year, Kenny. That wasn't the only like surefire touchdown that he's dropped. He's had a couple, but like I said, I think it's just the confidence thing with him. He's taking a peek up the field to see if he can get into the end zone because he doesn't believe that he's just going to catch that ball, turn, and get to the end zone. You know what I mean? Nice little swing pass. I like that call. Because I like that call because you're hoping that you pick up enough yardage to make it third and manageable. But if you get close enough, you can tush push it. Jalen Hurts doesn't have to work that hard on the tush push. First and goal. And has eaten 7 minutes of the first quarter already. I mean, this game is going to be 15 minutes long. It's crazy. Okay, so you don't want to run the sneak with Hurts. It looks like you don't want to do the brotherly shove. You have run it very well down here. I still, and if you've watched my streams before, you know this is my jam. I still like, hey, let's get Jalen on a boot, give him the option to run or pass, and turn it into a little bit of a scramble drill. You know what I mean? Um, that is my preferred play down here at the goal line. You just give yourself options that you don't get with a run like that. When you run it right up the middle, it either works or it doesn't, and one guy getting penetration can eat you alive. You know what I mean? That's actually, Kenny, that's not a terrible idea. You might be, I don't know if you're full tongue in cheek saying that, but that's not a terrible idea because it's not, I mean, Jalen helps. The guy squats like 500 pounds, don't get me wrong. But it's the offensive line that makes that brotherly shove go. So It's not a terrible idea, putting Mariota in there. There it is. See, you give him the option to run, and I get it. He's not feeling great. I don't care. That is a weapon in the offense that you need to force them to account for, and say, yes, we get he's sick, but no, I think it would work for 3 yards, 2 plays. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. They got stuffed on second down for no gain, 2 plays, get 3 yards. And the backup QB should be able to do that. I agree. Oh, that knee's not down, is it? Yeah, and he's not technically giving himself up, right? That's what the ref just said. The ref that's on my TV screen. Well, what a drive from the Eagles to start. I mean, phenomenal. 8.5 minutes of the first quarter. You go down, you get a touchdown. 1 point for Kenny G towards the 4 that he needs. I mean, we're rolling here. We're rolling. You know what I mean? All right, what a weekend in the NFL. These playoff scenarios are just absolutely bonkers, and we will talk about them in full at the end. But an incredible weekend in the NFL. It all kicked off on Thursday with a game I didn't watch, and thank God I didn't. The Raiders put up 42 points in the first half. Get out. 42 to nothing in the first half. You got to be kidding me. Give a little bit of credit to the now fired Brandon Staley, though, because in the second half, it was a 21-21 tie. So, Kenny G, an extra point puts me up by .7, but it's -1 for a missed kick, and on a wet day, I want more than a .7 lead. Absolutely, dude. 100%. But I don't think that'll be the end of the scoring tonight, so hopefully you get a couple more. Not to mention your guy has been good in the rain. Unfortunately, my Bills know all about that, so feeling good about your spot right now. You know what I mean? So the Chargers fire Brandon Staley. I think it's going to be one of the more interesting coaching searches in the NFL. I really do. He made a lot of interesting choices. Give him credit. He lived by the sword and died by the sword. He made it very clear that he was going to believe in analytics and do all that stuff. And I do hate when people say analytics, quote unquote, because there are a lot of different numbers that people use to justify or quantify things. But he was a believer in win percentage and go for it metrics and all that kind of stuff. Give him credit for being himself till the day he got fired, but also it got you fired, so you probably shouldn't stop that. Why do I think that? Why do I think that this is one of the interesting coaching hires? Because the Spanoses, who own that franchise, have notoriously been cheap. That is kind of their reputation around the league. However, I think it's a coveted spot. Yes, you are the little brother in LA, but you are in Southern California. You have a franchise quarterback. Even if you guys don't think he's elite, it's not like they're going into the draft and drafting a guy. So you have a franchise quarterback that if you only elevate him to a playoff contender, you're a hero. You did a great job. Because he hasn't been able to do that yet, right? So you have a quarterback that's good enough to make the playoffs, and all you have to do is get there. It's not like you're going in with – if the Bills' job was to open this offseason, you would be going in there with expectations of you need to win a Super Bowl, and you need to do it soon. If you go into the Chargers, I don't think the expectations are you need to win a Super Bowl. It's you need to turn this team into a perennial playoff team. And I think you can do that with Justin Herbert. Then if you look at the rest of the roster, there is a ton of talent. And Kenny G, I see you saying this in your comment right now. Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Derwin James, Austin Eckler. Keenan Allen still has plenty of talent left. I like Gerald Everett. I mean, there is a huge amount of talent on that roster. And I don't think it's a rebuild. I think you walk in the door and you can win 10 games next year. No problem. Really, honestly, no problem. So I think it is going to be a coveted spot. I think coaches who are already coaches are going to be looking to get into that organization. I don't think that the owners are very hands-on. I think they will take direction from a coach, especially if you hire like a Sean Payton or a Bill Belichick. I think they would take direction from their coach about what they should be doing and how they should be doing it. So I just think it's going to be a coveted spot. I really do. So Kenny says, I think the Chargers are super talented and the ownership needs to stick with a coach. Since 2016, 4 coaches. That's a new coach every other year. I hear what you're saying, but there were some disappointments there, no doubt. And I think Brandon Staley has been a disappointment and deserved to be fired. So I'm not big on calling for people's jobs, but I think now that he has lost his job, it was justified. I've been completely ignoring the game, just the third down stop for the Eagles, but only about a yard or so to go. It would take some coconuts to go for this one, and Pete's gonna punt it away. 4th and 1. Yeah, you wonder if that throw is just a little more ahead of DK if he can pick up that first down. But he also should grip that just another second and let him the route develop just a little bit longer so he can get to those sticks. But that's hard to say in the NFL. You know what I mean? If it's there, you got to throw it. So, Kenny G, what they need is a defensive coordinator for all that talent they've finished in the bottom half of the league, or ship out some of that talent and get better, and to get people that gel better. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, I think a good defensive coordinator makes a huge impact there. I think their biggest problem is availability. I think the biggest problem for the Chargers is that they can't stay healthy. Now, they are 1-2-3 Cancun right now. So, maybe guys would be playing if they were in a playoff hunt that are making business decisions now. But there's just a lot of injuries on that team always. I think part of that, and this is something that I actually noticed with the Bills. The Bills had an owner come in. He had a lot of money. He does not have Greg Penner money, but he's got enough money that he can do things like this. And he completely revamped everything they do from a medical treatment and injury prevention side. Yoga classes, hot tubs, pools. They built a whole new wing of their area and put all this, cryo chambers and all this stuff in. And their number of soft tissue injuries and players out due to injury went down. Now, some of that's luck because this year it hit the Bills hard. And you can't help an ACL or an Achilles, or if somebody breaks a bone, there's nothing you can do about it. But you can minimize the impact of injuries by preventing soft tissue and stuff like that. As I said, the Spanoses are notoriously cheap, so you wonder if that has something to do with the injury problems for the Chargers. But it'll be interesting to see how what goes on. Kenny G, he isn't like Cowan to the Mets. Yeah, that's true, but I live in New York, so I see all the Bills stuff all the time. He dropped some coin for that team. He really did. He really invested in getting the everybody who isn't part of the league's payroll, right? So like players, stuff like that. There's only so much you can spend. Coaches, there's no limit for. And he really went all out and paid a lot of money to get the best PR guy, the best alumni. Well, I'm not crazy about their alumni guy, but the best PR guy, the best trainers, the best massage therapists, all the best yoga. You know what I mean? Like he spent a ton of money to do all that and try to help the team on the field with just dollars, and I think it's made a difference. So, all right, Eagles' second drive here, 4:29 in the first quarter, flying by as these two teams like to run the ball. I think the Eagles can get their swag back real quick here with another drive from inside their own 20 that looked like the last drive. I think this is a team that got pounded by the Niners, got embarrassed by the Cowboys, and if you give them their 10-win swag back, it could be a long day for Seattle here. So. Also, I see we got some more viewers in. Always let me know what your bets are. I'd love to know what you're rooting for. Fantasy playoffs. We got Kenny G watching kickers for his fantasy playoffs. I've got the Seahawks +5 right now. I just feel like it's going to be a sloppy game that ends with a field goal somewhere. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Eagles are going to run away with this one. Seahawks have looked terrible. I don't know. A Pete Carroll team losing 5 in a row doesn't feel right to me. But I didn't know who the quarterback was going to be at the time I bet it. Would have been more hesitant about it if I had known it was Drew Lock. But this is a game they can't afford to give away. So 3rd and 10 now because of a false start. $63-21, the final score in that Raiders-Chargers game that set us off on that whole conversation. I think it's going to be real interesting who they hire, because you could get a real name to do it. It's just you have to pay him, and I don't know if the Spanoses are going to pay. Oof. Seahawks needed that. Force a punt on 3rd and 10. Kenny says the most interesting game of the weekend was one that 500 people went to, which we will talk about that later. First, we got to get to the Saturday games, which include Vikings-Bengals. What a game that was. If you're like me, I bet not only the Bengals before the game, but also the Bengals during the game, and it worked out pretty well. They put up 21 points in the fourth quarter to tie that game, send it into overtime, and they win in overtime on a field goal, 27-24. That one was huge for the wild card in both divisions. Vikings falling to 7-7, Bengals jumping to 8-6, and the log jam for both conferences has moved up a spot in the win column. In the AFC, the log jam is at 8 wins. In the NFC, the logjam is at 7 wins, and it's crazy the teams that are still there for a wild card spot. I think the decision to start Nick Mullins was really interesting. Technically, he got the win versus the Raiders. I know Dobbs hadn't looked much better. Dobbs at least gives you a threat with his legs that the defense has to account for. Mullins, I don't know. Granted, he put up 24 points, so maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree here. But I just think mental health guy, welcome in. I just think Dobbs gives them that extra dynamic that Mullins doesn't give them. And I know he struggled, but I probably would have stuck with Dobbs. Mental health guy chiming in, Nick Mullins is going to start next week. Yeah, I mean, I think once you pull the plug on that, it's real hard to go back to Dobbs and sell your team. This is the guy that's going to do it for us. I think it feels like a panic move if you go back to Dobbs now. I just think it was a mistake to go to Mullins in the first place. If you go to Mullins in the Raider game and you say Dobbs was having a tough game, we wanted to see if we could get a spark by putting in the backup quarterback, that's one thing. But then once you start him for a week, I'm not crazy about it. Bengals, on the other hand, love Jake Browning, love the way he's playing, love him screaming at the camera, "You shouldn't have cut me." He is maybe the current most fun backup quarterback to root for. It was Josh Dobbs before, now it's him. Bengals have a tough schedule down the stretch, but it'll be fun to see if he can get the. Oh my God, Kenneth Walker almost got murdered. Oof. I don't think he's earning himself a starting gig. He's going to earn himself a fat paycheck as a backup quarterback, no doubt. Maybe as a bridge guy. So if, somebody like the Raiders or someone like that is drafting a quarterback, Patriots maybe, and you want a guy to come in and, eat some face mask for a couple games, you could have Browning get a starter contract from them. But I think he's going to end up get a nice big Garner Minshew type backup quarterback deal. And for the rest, yeah, Kenny G, exactly right. Matt Castle, Trevor Siemian, he's Chase Daniel now. He's Caleb Haney. His performance this year is going to earn him over his career probably $15 million. Just in backup quarterback contracts, which is amazing. Mental health guy, I'm afraid of losing Brian Flores. It's going to be really interesting. I don't know that people love the dysfunction at the end of that tenure in Miami. And I thought he was a good coach down there. I thought he got kind of the short end of the stick. They no doubt upgraded because I like Mike McDaniel a lot, but I think it's going to be hard for him to get another head coaching job, at least soon, for Flores. But he'll have his pick of defensive coordinator jobs for the rest of the time, I think. He's done an excellent job. And did with the Dolphins, too. I think that defense was better under the Dolphins than it has been, or better under him than it has been even with Vic Fangio this year. But I think the Fangio defense will continue to get better as we get into the playoffs. Kenny G, if he gets the Bengals to the playoffs, I think he starts somewhere next year. If he gets them to the playoffs, I could see it. I just don't think anybody thinks he's their long-term solution. He's going to have a Ryan Fitzpatrick type career. And maybe he goes somewhere and just wins the starting job. Maybe he goes to Tennessee and just beats out Will Levis and plays better than him and is the starter and then gets a fat contract. and he's that starter level journeyman. I just think he's going to end up being the backup level journeyman. But like Baker Mayfield, Ryan Fitzpatrick, there's that starter level journeyman that he absolutely could work his way into. It'll be interesting to see. Fitzmagic, that's my boy. You already know. I love him and he loves Buffalo, so he's my guy. Um, it was interesting though. Did you see his comment about backing up the Bills? I think it was to Barstool. And Fitz was like, everywhere I've gone and signed as a backup, the starting quarterback got hurt and I ended up starting. And I don't want to put that voodoo on Josh Allen. So I won't sign a backup quarterback contract there, which I just thought was wild. I mean, that's hilarious, crazy, and thank you. So what a game, and mental health guy, I feel for you because your heart must have been just melting in that fourth quarter. Um, Vikings fans have been through it so many times. Vikings, Lions, Bills, Browns. I don't care for the Browns much now, but I used to feel bad for Browns fans. Um, we all have gone through just gut punch after gut punch. So I was watching that game, thinking to myself, man, that's tough for the Vikings, um, and maybe a playoff opportunity slipping away here. The real question is, what are you guys going to do next year? I think you have the most interesting one of the most interesting quarterback situations in the league. You guys in Seattle, your teams that are built to win, and man, you know, like, what are we doing here? All right, let's go with our next game here. Steelers Colts. I don't. Everyone's like, oh, Kenny Pickett might come back next week. I don't. I mean, I would love for the Steelers. They play a couple teams that are in this AFC playoff race. I'd love for the Steelers to get hot and win a couple games here. I just don't see it happening. I think their defense is. I've said this a couple times. If you hang out in the channel, I've said it a couple times. I think their defense is good. I don't think it's great, and I think it has a logo and a jersey that make everybody be like, "Oh, the Steeler defense is great again." I don't think it's great. I think it's just a good defense. Um, so it'll be interesting to see if Mike Tomlin can keep them above 500. Last year was the year we all thought it was going to bite it. This year we thought no chance it bites it, and here we are. Um, so interesting there. Uh, the Colts, tough schedule down the stretch for the Colts. Let's open this up here. Gonna have to start looking at schedules and talking schedules because it matters. Oh no, maybe I know the Browns have a tough schedule, and maybe that's what I was thinking of. At the Falcons versus the Raiders versus the Texans. Um, so I mean, two wins that are gettable there can get you to 10, and then that Texans game, maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe you're already in the wild card. Um, but they will play the Texans down the stretch, so a couple of those very incestual games where these AFC wildcard teams are all playing each other coming up. Um, so it's going to be interesting. This is weird. He's not batting. Oh, I guess it's forward for him. Okay, so they're going to re-punt it from the other side of the field, going the other direction. Welcome back to Seattle. All right, and then the Steelers' last three games super tough. Versus the Bengals, at the Seahawks, at the Ravens. Like I said, I'd love for them to get hot and hand out a couple losses here, but um, I think it's very possible the Steelers lose out and Mike Tomlin has his first losing season, which would be interesting. Mental health guy, let's not say that anybody should be kicking themselves for not bringing in Joe Flacco. Did it work out? Yes. Is he a fossil? And yeah, I mean he's a fossil. I don't think you could have expected what you've gotten from Joe Flacco. I think I credit to Kevin Stefanski. It's a very well coached team, and he no doubt knows the offense, so that's something. Um, I would be hard pressed to believe that he is going to continue to play at the level that he's played at. And he showed signs of it this week with some interceptions. I know he made the plays when it matters, but I just find it hard to believe that over the last month of the season, he's going to continue to play like he has. So, no, I don't think the Vikings should be kicking themselves for that. I think it has gone better than anybody could expect. Oh, Artie Burns with a nice swat. I got so caught up in talking ball, we didn't even take our commercial break. We're going to have to do that the next time they go to commercial. Turn off those pre-roll ads. Just to wrap Steelers Colts, though, Colts are an interesting team to possibly make the playoffs. I think everybody would be begging to get them as a playoff team. And that's weird to say for a team that's already got 8 wins. You know what I mean? 2 wins behind the Eagles. But AFC South played the NFC South, and I just think there's going to be a whole lot of paper tigers coming out of those 2 divisions. Could have 4 playoffs teams out of those 2 divisions, and it's like that is not good quality football being played against them. Um, what ends up happening is 10 of your total games are against your division and your crossover division, and you have a team like the Colts that have won 8 games that are not an 8-game team, 8-win team. Brotherly shove, first one we saw. And Kenny G, to your point, did not bring in Mariota to do it. $59 of 64 since 2022. It's wild. 18 straight conversions. I don't mind the brotherly shove. I don't know why people get so up in arms about it. Other teams cannot do it the same way that they do it. So I understand the situation, but is the message getting stale for Tomlin and the Steelers? I think that's why he had to fire Canada. I think I think ownership walked down there and said, "This is bad pub. It's bad offense. We know you're loyal to your guys, but if you don't fire him, we're gonna fire you." And would they actually pull the trigger on something like that? I don't know. I really don't. Tomlin would have a job tomorrow. if he got fired. And I don't know how good he would be coordinating an offense or coordinating a defense nowadays. But he, as a CEO head coach, would be. Do you know how much money college teams would throw after him? NFL teams? Man, this Eagles offense is churning right now. Yeah, I'm not so sold on Jalen Hurts crushing people with his arm right now, which is the point the commentators are trying to make. The running game is such a threat for this offense that I don't think it's necessarily Hurts' arm that is, I think, mental health guy. Look at you. 3 months, part of the mob. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining the Rob Mob. Well, rejoining the Rob Mob. Please like, subscribe, follow. Mental health guy setting an excellent example. Appreciate you. Um, Twitch is on me to get those subscriptions up. I don't pay attention to it so much because I just love coming on here talking football with you guys. So, but they send me notifications all the time, like, oh, if you want to make partner, you got to get your subscriptions up, and it's like, okay. So I appreciate that, mental health guy. It makes a huge difference. Thank you for that. 2nd and 8 for the Eagles offense now, and Kenny G, I'm thinking about you here because, oh, you're not going to get a flag on that, are you? 3rd and 5. Do we see a kicker trot on the field here in a play? Everybody hold their breath for Kenny G. If you're playing video games and just have me on in the background and the game on in the background, here's a moment to pay attention. Third and 6. Didn't get it. Oh, mental health guy's doing work today. Appreciate that gifted sub. Monster. Oh, they're going for it, Kenny G. Oh, no. I mean, I guess that's, better than a miss, but. Fourth and 3. They're just trying to draw them, right? They're not actually going for this, are they? Yeah, they're going. And they got it. Wow, to Julio Jones. God, I forgot he signed there. Did you know Leonard Fournette is a Buffalo Bill? That's how I feel about this. I don't know that I need to see Gainwell get going at running back. I really don't. Swift is an absolute boss. I think we can leave it at that. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. 3rd and 1. Get the brotherly shove out there. Here we go. And the Bills have already found a play off of the brotherly shove to get a conversion. Did he move the ball? Yeah, you're not allowed to move the ball. Third and 6 now. 7:05, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stack them up. Do we see a field goal kicker here? We do. Kenny. Oof. Good. Kenny G, good. Nicholas, nobody cares. I mean, good for you. But if you are going to keep pumping shit on my channel, you're going to catch a block. Come on now, man. All right, let's take a commercial with him. We'll be right back. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Yes, Kenny G, 3 points. And gives you a little bit of breathing room in your fantasy playoff matchup. Love that for you. 10-0, the Eagles in the lead in real football with 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. This game, of course, flying by. It is 7 o'clock. It's been like 45 minutes, and they have 40 minutes. No, 45. And we are almost through the first half. Just crazy. Oh, moving the ball. Yeah, you can't move the ball. Yeah, he moves it a whole half yard. And I've actually talked to guys who were centers in the league who said that was their trick that they would do. Well, you get a little pass interference there. All right, Drew, can you get something going here? I really think the Seahawks need to get something going here. You need some kind of points before this half evaporates from underneath you here. Keep the crowd in it, all that. Nice running play. And I think that's going to be the key against this Eagles defense. I know they've got some injuries on the back end, but Seattle, I mean, you run the ball at them. That's what they do well. Ooh, did it get it? I think that's a first down. Okay, so and if you've been here, you've heard me talk about it. You're in that field goal red zone here where you give up another first down, you're probably in field goal range um, as the Seahawks. So if you want to hold them without points and you're the Eagles, you gotta stop them on this set of downs. 5 yards on first down is good for this offense. So you got two downs to pick up 5 yards here if you're Seattle. I'm thinking I'm probably running the ball at him. There you go. And now they're in field goal range. The hard part for me about that is I want I don't necessarily want the rest of this half to evaporate, but I also don't want to give them the last score. Um, but you got to just run your offense the way that you run your offense. You know what I mean? There's only so much manipulating of the clock and situation that you can do. Oof, nice play on the toss. Who's 22? Ringo? What a job. There was a lot of open field there. and he came up and stuck him and hit him for a loss. Yeah, excellent job. Creeping up on the 2-minute warning here. Oh, need to make catches for your backup quarterback like that. 3rd and 10. I think the important thing, if I'm in Drew Lock's headset, I'm telling him we can't take a sack here. You are just barely in field goal range. A sack could really hurt you. Play smart here. Got to get something on the board if you're the Seahawks. There you go. What a laser from Drew Lock. That's one thing he always had was the arm. Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. I hate that he went up there because you just knew he wasn't going to get used the way he should be. Absolutely rifled that ball. To the 2-minute warning. This half has flown by. It's absolutely crazy. All right, Broncos Lions. Next game on our list to talk about here. Broncos go into Motown and get absolutely smacked. For as good as it has felt here in Denver with this Broncos team over the last 2 months, Saturday was a stark reminder of how far that team is really from contending. Lions get their 10th win, still in it for the number 1 seed. Broncos fall to, I believe, 10th in the AFC. And it's not just about winning their last 3 games. Now they have a ton of teams they have to crawl over. The advantage that they have is that their schedule is incredibly easy, and they don't play any other teams who are in it for the playoff race. They got the Chargers, they got the Patriots, and they got the Raiders left. Now, if the Raiders are the team we saw on Thursday, yikes. But the next 2 are Chargers and Patriots, and those should be 2 wins for them, which gets you, I think, to the final week with a shot. And that's all you have to do, right? You want your hardest game to be the last one because you just want to be alive going into that last week, create pressure, create a feeling of the teams in front of you like, hey, there's a team right back there. They've won 2 games in a row, and we've got to win. Otherwise, we're in trouble. So 2 real easy games for the Broncos down the stretch means I think they're still in it. I think they'll get to 10 personally, but they're going to need some help to get in now, and it's going to be interesting. Lions, on the other hand, they got right. Big game against Dallas in a couple weeks. And I think Dallas is going to end up slipping to the 5 seed and staying there. But over the last 3 weeks, you got 2 games against the Vikings with a game against the Cowboys sandwiched in there for the Lions. Mental health guy will tell you the Vikings had a shot at that division, and they let it slip through their hands on Saturday with 2 games against the Lions. Now it's all about how many playoff games can you get in Ford Field is really the big thing for me. Charbonnet with a run here. I think this is really to try to burn some clock or make Philly use their timeout, which I think they just did. Yeah. Yeah. So you want to burn these timeouts a little bit. You don't want to let them go score before half. now that you've got another set of downs to work with. And you can even pick up another set of downs inside the 5-yard line. I think it's smart to try to work on their timeouts a little bit here and see if you can burn some clock. All right, that moves us to the Sunday games. The Bears, who were surprisingly in the playoff race at 5-8, headed to Cleveland to take on the Browns. And every AFC team in that logjam was watching this game thinking, man, if the Bears pull this out, we are going to be in a great spot. Up by 10 at one point. And the Browns scored 13 points all in the fourth quarter, all before overtime. Even with enough time left on the clock for the Bears to try to tie the game or win it. And they almost did on a Hail Mary. Browns probably officially out of it with 9 losses. In the NFC, I mean, 8 and 9 might be enough in the NFC, but I doubt it. So Bears probably out of it. Definitely have to win out if they want to get in, but probably out of it. Browns, on the other hand, they keep themselves above the fray of the AFC, which is that 8-win mark right now. They've got a tough schedule down the stretch. I don't think Joe Flacco can keep playing the same way he did. Mental health guy came in here and asked, should the Vikings be kicking themselves for not getting Joe Flacco? I will be shocked if he continues at this level of production. But he might, not having to go through training camp, not having to wear a whole season's worth of starts. Maybe he's just fresh enough to really be dangerous. The thing is, down the stretch, and I think this is going to matter, down the stretch, they are playing other teams in this wild card race. Kenny G says Flacco is an arm. Where it will catch up with him is the conditioning, I think. Yeah, I mean, playing NFL games wears on you, right? So the fact that he didn't have to play so many through the first half of the season, I think is an advantage. At some point, that's diminishing returns, right? At some point, the number of games that he has played is going to start to wear on him, and especially the way his body recovers. That's what I've heard from older NFL players. They said you just don't recover the same way that you used to. Kenny G also says he's always had a cannon of an arm. I remember when he was at Delaware. No doubt. And he knows that offense inside and out. So a big advantage for him. Oof. Seattle tries a pass play there. Yes, I think you have to get into the end zone. Yes, it was a simple pass play. But it falls incomplete, and now you save the Eagles that timeout, which is a huge, huge bummer. Nice play. Who was that? Ringo again, 22. Matt Patricia calling the defense for the Eagles. Third and 7. This will make Philly burn their last time out here with 1:45-44 left. I would at least consider going for this. You got a whole timeout to talk about what you want to do. It's 4th and 3. I think you have to take the points here. If I was a head coach, I would be considered a super aggressive head coach. So I think you have to at least think about taking or going for it on 4th down. I think my decision would be taking the points. 4th and 4. Ooh, Pete is thinking he's going to go for this here. ESPN analytics say go. I assume they're looking at win percentage with that. I hate, again, that they don't tell you what the analytics are that they're looking at. I assume they're looking at win percentage for the go for it call here. I think they're just trying to draw them off sides, though. Yeah. I think you got to put points on the board and make it a one-score game, especially with the weather right now. Um, I would have considered going for it, but so Seattle's getting the ball in the second half, and that even more makes me lean towards taking the 3. Stringing scores together is important. Now, Eagles going to have plenty of time here to go down and try to get points, but you lean on your defense here, ask them to get a stop. So. All right. So crazy end to that game for the Browns and the Bears. Browns end up keeping themselves clear of the fray in the AFC. Um, their schedule remaining tough one. I really think tough one. CJ Stroud likely back this week. They're at the Texans this week, versus the Jets the next week, and then at the Bengals to wrap up the season. 2 of those 3 teams in wild card positions, or at least tied for a wild card spot. Um, so a rough go down the stretch. We'll see if Joe Flacco can keep it up. Um, I just don't think that's likely. I really don't. And so I think this might be a team that ends up with 10 wins and gets in, but it might be a backing in for them, even though they're 9-5 right now. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Our next game, Bucks and Packers. Bucks, I think they're going to make a little bit of a run here. I've always liked them in that division. I'm sick of Todd Bowles. I do not like him. But Baker Mayfield, I've always been a fan. I felt like he got the short end of the stick in Cleveland, and that led to a whirlwind of going places and trying to start there and it not working out. He looks like he's settled in a little bit with the Bucks now, a couple wins in a row for him. And 4 touchdowns, over 350 yards, perfect passer rating up in Lambeau. The media darling Packers around Thanksgiving time, it was short-lived. 6-8 now. Still in it for a playoff spot because the NFC is trash, but I think it's going to be difficult for them. I don't think they have the talent to get there. Bucks, on the other hand, leading the NFC South now, and yes, one of those teams is going to bump their head against a division championship. But you could have one of these NFC South teams sneak in to one of the wild card positions. A whole bunch of them 7-7, and just like the AFC South, I mean, just bad games that they're winning. I mean, really ugly games that they're winning. And I think whenever they play real teams in the playoffs, they are going to get absolutely pounded. But we'll see. They don't ask who you beat unless you're tied with a whole bunch of teams. They just ask what your record was. So I think it would be a real bummer to have multiple NFC South teams in the playoffs, but we might get it. We'll see. 1:42 left to go here in the first half. Eagles will get the ball on the 25, and you wonder how aggressive they're going to be here. I think and would hope very aggressive. No timeouts, but 1:42 is plenty of time. Your biggest concern would be giving the ball back to Seattle with time, but that's Drew Lock starting at quarterback. Like, you have to not fear them. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be aggressive here in my mind. I'll be real disappointed if they play this very conservative. Nice first down pickup, but there's a flag on the play. So first down will stand for him. I felt like he got out of bounds there. I think they're too liberal with that winding the clock play. Um, it feels like it's been an emphasis over the past couple of years for the NFL. Hey, we're going to wind these clocks if their forward progress is stopped in bounds. He was lunging forward when he went out of bounds there, so nobody over there. I guess he got out of the pocket. I mean, it was close. It was close for Jalen getting it out of the pocket. He did get the ball across the line, it looked like, but 3rd and 10, and you got to be thinking if you're the Seahawks here, if this gets tackled inbounds and short of the line to gain, you're using a timeout, of course, to save yourself as much time as you can. That first down that they picked up, it's going to make it a long drive for you, but very doable here, especially if you got a timeout in your back pocket. Incomplete, and they did you a favor. So you're going to save 2 timeouts here. Minute 20 seconds and 2 timeouts is an eternity. Interesting that he fielded that punt. You were in danger of that rolling deep into the end zone. Instead, you get it at the 20, which is nice. But all right, what's our next? Oh, Texans Titans. What a game that was too. Those Browns and Bears and Texans Titans were the two real interesting morning games on Sunday. Texans with Case Keenum hang around, hang around, hang around, and just do enough to get a win. And for the rest of the AFC wild card chasing them, you looked at that game and you said, here is a chance to get a loss with no CJ Stroud, knock them down a peg, and instead they get a win. When the other teams say we got no help on the scoreboard, that's the kind of stuff they're talking about. OT field goal wins it literally as time expires. They played the whole 10 minutes of overtime. And I really thought the Titans deserved to win that game. But Houston got it done. All right, Houston's upcoming schedule here. Versus the Browns, versus the Titans, at the Colts. And these games, like I said, where wild card teams are playing against other possible wild card teams, you hope somebody takes a loss if you're any of the other teams that are in this log jam. You might root for a team like the Browns that has 2 games against these wild card teams to just run away and win out. And that way you give a loss to the Texans and the Bengals, and you know what I mean? Let one team get away with it. But it'll be interesting down the stretch here because there are going to be a lot of these very important games in these wild card playoff races in both conferences. Um, the Titans probably eliminated with that loss. At 5-8, they were still alive. I did not think 9 wins was going to be enough in the AFC. So maybe not mathematically eliminated, but they were, I think, out of it. But been game the last 2 weeks versus two teams in playoff position, so good for them. Down the stretch, I think they play a couple more teams here in the playoff run. So Tennessee, and I think Tennessee and maybe Oakland and Las Vegas will have a say in this playoff picture down the stretch. Tennessee is versus the Seahawks at the Texans versus the Jaguars. So yeah, they'll have a little bit of a say in this playoff race down the stretch here. If they can stay motivated, they could play spoiler for sure. Little 5-yard pickup on first down for Seattle. You got 2 timeouts here, so you're not so worried about the clock. You're looking to use your first one just after a minute's gone, so around now. But the hardest first down to pick up, always the first one, so I'll take that first down pickup. Quick throw out of bounds on second down, and you're in 3rd and 4 suddenly. Oh, are they going to throw an intentional grounding here? Wow. And that'll be a 10-second runoff unless you burn one of your timeouts. I might let him take the 10-second runoff. Because if you pick up this first down, you can use your timeout. If you don't pick up the first down, you want that time ticking off anyway. See, I wouldn't do that. Seattle is calling the timeout to avoid the runoff. I wouldn't do that. I'd let them have the 10 seconds and keep my 2 timeouts. Because it's not likely I pick up this third down. But if I do, I've got my 2 timeouts. I think the Seahawks are just going to run the ball here and eat time, which is then like, why did you take your time out? Got Denver and Dallas in the NBA here on a second screen. And Denver up 24-17 late in the first quarter. Keep you updated on that. Fun little matchup for a Monday night. Yeah. So why would you take your time out there if you're just going to run the ball? Like, the idea here is wow. How interesting. So the penalty is going to stop the clock until they punt the ball. They're not going to wind it. So 37 seconds and no timeouts for the Eagles. You fair catch this ball, you probably have 30 seconds, 32, something like that. I'm telling my guy auto fair catch this, and then I got a couple rips at it. You know what I mean? He returns it instead. Still 27 seconds. I probably rip one pass here. See if I can get a chunk. It looks like they might run it. Let's see what they do here. 27 seconds, no timeouts. Nope, they're going to rip it. I love that. Yeah, take a shot towards the sideline, see if you connect. 22 now. That was incomplete. I try one more here and then I run the ball. I mean, there's going to be less than 10 seconds left if Seattle gets the ball back here, so I'm not too concerned about it. Long play, 15 seconds. Third and 4. Like I said, if Seattle gets the ball back, it'll be less than 10 seconds, so it's not a huge deal. Take the shot, see if you can connect. Did he catch it? Oh, no. He just flat dropped it. All right, well, you get a chance at a punt return here if you're the Seahawks, but not much you can do with 8 seconds. There you go. And that punt will end the half. All right. Well, plenty more to talk about things that happened on Sunday, including we'll run down each of the playoff scenarios because they are incredibly interesting right now. While we watch the second half of this one-score game, believe it or not. But as always, we'll take a break at halftime. We will go get a drink, a snack, and run to the bathroom. You should do the same, and we will see you for the second half right back here. All right, everybody, welcome back for the second half. We're kicking off right now. I hope you got a little drink, got a little snack, went to the bathroom. Everything was good. Seahawks getting the ball to begin the second half, and I really think they got to put something together here, even if it's just a field goal drive. I think you want to stay in contact here, and God, you'd love to put a touchdown on the board with your halftime adjustments before they can adjust to your adjustments. But yeah, Pete Carroll says finish in the red zone. Listen, you're only going to get so many possessions. This game has flown by. We're in the third quarter. An hour and a half, and we're already in the third quarter. So this game has flown by. Not a ton of possessions. The end of the half there actually is going to drive up the number of possessions, and it was a little bit disingenuous, right? So you have to covet these possessions. I think it's interesting Patricia calling the defense. I'm open to him being better at it than Sean Desai, but Kenneth Walker is just beasting. An absolute animal. And you're putting Drew Lock in good situations here. 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4, first couple series, first couple set of downs. Um, Kenneth Walker, what a job. It's a ball you want to throw over his head there because he just doesn't have a great opportunity. Instead, he breaks a tackle, picks up a first down. I like him so much. Underrated, I think, and he gets a ton of credit, and I still think he's underrated. Oh, I think it's so important that the Seahawks don't waste this drive. Listen, I know Charbonnet has played well for them. I am giving Kenneth Walker every handoff I can. I really do. I think he's that good. New set of downs for him, though. Another 1st and 10, and you're just on the edge of field goal range right here. So I'm again in. Ooh, nice tackle by 2, 3. Oh, is that Slay? No, Slay's out. Who's that? Um, Bobo almost gets loose there, though. An excellent tackle by number 3. Um, I'm in Drew Lock's headset saying, hey, no negative plays here. Play smart. You're right on the edge of field goal range. Oh, I think that's a bad spot for Fant. Show it again. I don't know. Maybe it was a good spot. I just didn't have time to really look. There's Kenneth Walker with a cutback. Drew Lock, get in front. Yes. Oh, I love Drew Lock throwing his shoulder in there. I really do. Listen, that was a man's drive right there. I mean, they ran the ball all the way down the field. I love this little cutback here. Um, was that Fant? Seals that edge. Drew Lock gets out in front. Disley out in front as well. What a drive. Excellent job by the Seahawks. Yeah, I mean, much like Josh Allen yesterday in a game that we have yet to talk about, Drew Lock just kind of along for the ride on that drive. But maybe that's what you want here. All right, our next game to talk about is the Jets and Dolphins. There was the littlest hope I had that the Jets, who can we go back to their comments about them being like the 85 Bears? That defense? Yeah, I don't think so. 30 to nothing. The Dolphins stomp out the Jets. And a similar situation here to the Titans. The Jets were at 5-8. I don't think 9 wins would have gotten them in, even if they had one out. But most certainly eliminated now at 5-9, putting up 0 points down in Miami. Tyreek Hill gets a game off, and they handle business anyway, which is, I mean, the ideal situation for the Dolphins. So the Dolphins at 10-4. Listen, they have a look at the 1 seed. Here's the problem: their schedule over the next 3 weeks versus the Cowboys, at the Ravens, versus the Bills. That's tough. That's tough sledding because you're probably going to have to win all 3 of those if you want to talk about getting the 1 seed, maybe 2. Baltimore has a real tough schedule too, and Miami is a part of that. But it's it's a situation where that loss to the Titans, I think, really hurts them in a couple different ways. Um, let's see here. So currently, the Dolphins in the 2nd seed at 10-4. Right behind them, Kansas City and Jacksonville. Um, Kansas City, I really think has a great shot at this 1 seed because Miami has 3 tough games left, and so does Baltimore. And so Kansas City, with a very easy schedule down the stretch, could end up getting the 1 seed with a 12-5 record, and that would just drive me batty. I mean, absolutely up the wall. But they've got a great look at it. Ravens remaining schedule at the Niners versus the Dolphins versus the Steelers. And Kansas City's schedule is just a cakewalk in comparison. Let me pull that up for you. Kansas City's remaining schedule versus the Raiders versus the Bengals at the Chargers. So you need really the Bengals and the Raiders to jump up and do something. You really can't expect it from the Chargers, but the Raiders have played well. They played well this week anyway. And the Bengals are going to need that game. So those are the teams that you're looking at. Can we get another loss or two on the Chiefs here to make sure they're not the 1 seed? Because I will throw up in my mouth. But back to the Jets and Dolphins. Not a ton to talk about there. Ideal such situation for the Dolphins as they get to rest Tyreek and still get a 30-point win. I heard some people ask, does that hurt the MVP vote race for Tyreek Hill? I don't think he had a great shot at it anyway, but the fact that the offense was so good without him might hurt just a little bit. Just a little bit. 2nd and 1 now for the Eagles, and you know they already picked up this first down with the tush push. Could throw 2 passes into the ground here and still get it. They do that once. Here it is. There it is. The first time that they run something else off of it. A sweep play. 305. What's up, man? Appreciate you. I was just talking about the Dolphins. I don't know if you heard. I don't even know if you're a Dolphins fan, but 305 makes me guess. So Philadelphia with the first play off of the tush push that I've seen anyway. I don't know that they've done that before. A little sweep type run here. And you get Goddard out as a lead blocker and give it to DeAndre Swift and pick up that first down around the edge. Yeah, that looked like it hurt. And I imagine we're going to see a couple more of those as we get into playoff time. Bills have one, too, where they collapse down the side and have Josh Allen just take a step to his left or right and actually go outside of the tackle who is just caving in that side. Has been very effective for them, too. I imagine the Eagles are going to do that at some point as well. Yeah, it feels like the heightened awareness for the Eagles right now. Like they know, hey, we got to pick it up a little bit here, and that's absolutely true. Big loss for the Eagles there. You were in 2nd and manageable, and you take a loss of 5 on a screen pass, which is never something you think is going to happen. I guess it's not. It's kind of a screen. Yeah, they let their blocks go, so it is a screen. Never think you're going to lose 5 yards on a screen pass, and now you're in 3rd and 10, and this Seattle crowd's in full throat. Excellent throw from Hurts. He rips this thing from the hash to the numbers. It's a nice throw outside of the numbers. Yeah, it's a little bit behind him, but still. Oof. I don't know the name, but Michael Jackson just made a play there. He fought through his block into contact and got the guy on the ground. What a job. Probably don't want Devontae Smith blocking anybody at 150 pounds, though. Not his specialty. Second and 13, you got to be looking at getting half of this here. That also puts you back in field goal range. Pick up a little bit more than half of it, but Goddard, 8-9 yards there. It's going to make it third and manageable, and you're in field goal range already. Little run pass option for Hurts. He's slinging right now. Hurts is dealing. First and goal for the Eagles. First and goal at the 9, and I think you got to do a lot of RPO here. They do. They hand it, and they're down to the 1. Yeah, I think you got to trust Jalen Hurts. Let him make some decisions here. Love the urgency here from the Eagles. And here you are with the brotherly shove again from the 1. Just not even close. Touchdown, Eagles. I mean, they moved this thing 3 yards into the end zone. I mean, that's remarkable. That is the movement that they get. I mean, their feet, they're laying down on their stomachs and their feet are on the goal line. That's 3 yards deep in the end zone that they are. I shouldn't say that. It's 2 yards, a yard deep in the end zone. But, I mean, they move them 3 yards. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. What a drive from the Eagles. And the 2 times you felt a little shaky about them, starting the game, and then when you got a little nervous, Seahawks tie it up here in the second half. Both times they put out huge drives. All right. I'm just checking the lines here. I've got Eagles +5, so I'm probably not going to hit a middle here. They're +6.5 right now. I wouldn't hate jumping on that if I had the Eagles to start with. But it's something that I probably sit on for a little bit in terms of the lines here. All right, Chiefs Patriots next game we're talking about, and Patriots surprisingly game in this one. In fact, I think they were up 10-7 at one point, but Chiefs end up pulling away and winning by 10 on a just a shitty day in New England. This was one of the easy games that the Chiefs have left on their schedule. They've got a bunch of them. Real light schedule going forward. They showed some projections on Sunday Night Football about how the Chiefs can actually end up the favorite to win the number 1 seed. I am not a big Ravens fan, and they have 3 really tough games. Miami, 3 really tough games. They will play each other as part of that tough remaining schedule. And so, God, if the Chiefs sneak into that one seed, I'm just going to want to puke. It's going to make me sick. All right, what's next? Giants and Saints. And it looked like the Giants were maybe going to get something going to start the game. And the second half, Saints just locked it down and took over. The Saints are not a good team. I am going to shout that from this rooftop for as long as I can. But the Saints are not a good team. But they handled the Giants yesterday. Giants who were in it for the playoffs and had won a few games in a row. Tommy Cutlets, he was fun. He is fun. But Giants just get mopped up down in New Orleans. Saints now tied for that division and for the final wild card spot. I believe the Bucks win in the tiebreakers, of course. Yeah, they do, as they're in the 4 seed. But Saints, Rams, Vikings, all tied at 7-7. Seattle trying to join them tonight for those final 2 playoff spots. So the NFC South is going to have a look at getting 2 playoff teams in here. That is kind of crazy to me. I don't think that's a very good division, but bad divisions playing each other lead to this. Drew Lock takes a shot downfield. You got to do it every once in a while, but oh, God, what a hit. See, and I don't know if you're the Seahawks, you do have to take shots. I just don't know why you're getting away from what worked, which was running the ball. Now you're at 3rd and 9. You got to throw. Locke tried to climb the pocket. It wasn't the move there. Seattle offensive line got caved in. And the ball goes right back to the Eagles, who just put together an incredible drive. So if I'm the Eagles here, I'm thinking to myself, definitely want to eat the rest of the third quarter here. But can I put together the same drive I put together at the beginning of the game and just march down the field and take 7 minutes off the clock and really put this thing away with another score? It is crazy how quickly this game has moved. Um, but man, it's 2 hours and we're talking about getting to the fourth quarter here. Um, Crazy how quick this game has moved. But if you're the Eagles, I mean, just eat that clock and get your sick quarterback out of here. All right, what's our next game to talk about here? Oh, Falcons, Panthers. This was the one Kenny G wanted to talk about earlier. About 500 people in Charlotte to watch this game. The 6-7 Falcons versus the 1-12 Panthers. We got one touchdown on the day, and the team that scored the touchdown didn't win the game. 7-9 was the final score. Um, does this game matter? Yes, it did matter. Here's why. Falcons fall a game back in the playoff race, a game back in the NFC South race, but you knew all that. Where else it matters? The race for the number one overall pick. It was getting out of hand. Panthers were running away with it, and now suddenly it's back live. Let's pull this up for you here. Nope, we don't want divisions. We want league. Panthers at 2-12. Now just a game in front of Arizona and New England for the number one overall pick. It looked like Carolina was going to run away with it. That pick is going to go to the Chicago Bears. Now with a win, Panthers down the stretch. Ooh, Lane Johnson down. That's not good. Panthers down the stretch are going to play more NFC South teams, so they should get more wins. Well, it's actually kind of a tough schedule for the Panthers. Versus the Packers, at the Jaguars, versus the Bucks. But they're only one game ahead of New England and Arizona. People in Chicago rooting hard for the Panthers to lose out and make sure they get that number one overall pick, no doubt. Lane Johnson goes down for the Eagles. He's a tough cat, man. So I'm sure he's going to be back in there at some point. But next game to talk about, Commanders and the Rams. And like I said, the Commanders I thought were going to be game in this one, and they were. A late rush to make it 28-20 was the final score. But the Rams just too much. They're a different team with Matt Stafford at quarterback. I kind of wish they had pulled out that Ravens game. 8-6, and they would have looked like a real threat in the NFC to maybe climb to the or to the sixth and possibly even the fifth seed. But losing that game puts them in a situation where I don't think they have to win out. I think they need to win 2 of 3, and I think they can do it. It does, however, make our Thursday night football game a lot more interesting. The two teams right on the outside looking in are the Saints and the Rams, and they play each other on Thursday night. So it should be a fun Thursday night football game, no doubt. But the Rams finish versus the Saints, at the Giants, and at the Niners. You'd think they would get a win versus the Giants, and then they got to find a win in the other two. They might get it from the 49ers having whatever wrapped up by then. They need the Eagles to keep pushing, to lose a little bit here, so they're not pushing the 49ers for that 1 seed. It's possible the Niners have that wrapped up before they play that game, though. So the Rams could find their 2 wins there, but no doubt an important game coming up this Thursday. Rams trying to put themselves in a position to make the playoffs. Commanders looking at draft position before they rebrand that team and start over all again. To that point, Niners and Cardinals. Cardinals still live for that number 1 overall pick, but looks like they'll be in the top 5. Niners handle business. Not much to talk about there. They've got a fairly easy schedule coming up. That looks like just an ankle turn. You hope it's just an ankle turn. Now, I don't know. Can you put Johnson in on a penalty? Yeah, I guess you can. Hurts uses his legs, picks up about half of it. Make it third and manageable, but 3rd and 8 is longer than I thought. Um, like I said, though, if you're the Eagles, I'd want to try to burn as much of this clock as I can. I'm glad they didn't throw a penalty flag on that. AJ Brown underthrown, and a lot of times that gets rewarded with the PI. It's not my favorite call. Dangerous play by 55 there. He jumps over the tackle and just kind of slaps Hurts in the head. It's a way to get a flag. Good punt coverage. 28. Josh Joe. Great coverage on the punt. Okay, so yeah, like we were talking about, not a lot to talk about with the Niners. They, I think, are going to walk to that 1 seed because they have the tiebreaker over the Eagles as well, and I think the Eagles are going to end up winning that division. Eagles have an easy schedule going ahead here. Um, Big game against the Ravens next week on Monday Night Football, and then at the Commanders versus the Rams. And I think they might have it wrapped up before that last week. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. I really think they just need to beat the Commanders, and that'll give them 12. Uh, no, I guess if they lost, the Eagles can still get to 13. Is that right? Maybe that's right. Um, I think they're the best team in football right now. I don't think it's not close, which some people would tell you, but I think they're the best team in football right now, and I'm a big fan of what Kyle Shanahan does. So if you're talking about the most interesting conversation, I think to talk about for that isn't even necessarily who wins the NFC East and maybe pushes the um, Niners for that 1 seed. I think instead, what the most interesting conversation is who is going to have to play them in the second round. That's really the thing to me. Because listen, Detroit has a chance to overtake and catch one of these NFC East teams and maybe get that 2 seed. Um, but whatever NFC East team ends up falling to number 5, you're gonna have to play San Francisco in the second round, and that's gonna be brutal, man. It's gonna be brutal. Ooh, a little spicy on the sideline. Big drive for the Seahawks here. Walker. And they go right back to what they did well. Start your drive off on the right foot. Walker running the ball, breaks a tackle, bounces it outside. This is the touchdown drive they had, you know? Stick with it. Big runs. Body blow, body blow, body blow. Makes the difference, man. And now you're at the 50. That'll be the end of the quarter. We'll take the quarter break with them. Make sure our pre-roll ads are turned off for the rest of the game. So we'll take a commercial. Be back for the fourth quarter right after this. Okay, welcome back for the fourth quarter. Seahawks driving. Eagles with the lead. Looks like he's got a harness on his shoulder. I don't know if he had that before, did he? The linebacker that went out for the Eagles. They are just crushing this defense running the ball right now. Yeah, so Aikman was calling for a shot there, second and just a little bit more than a yard, and I think that would have been my play too. You don't want to do it too much, but got to keep that D honest, keep those safeties deep. You know what I mean? Still like that play call on first down, 5 yard pickup. Just keep it easy for Drew Lock. You know. God, I it's so frustrating how good these wide receivers are that they just get hardly any targets. You know, if Lockett doesn't bobble that, I wonder if he's able to lunge forward and get the first down. But as is with a little bobble and gets tossed down on the ground, that's tough. Mental health guy, welcome back. Yeah, I going hard on Warcraft right now, but let's see, Starfield, Baldur's Gate, Call of Duty, do a little bit of it all. Mental health guy. 4th and 2. God, would I take a field goal here? I think the answer is no, but I think they're just trying to draw him. I hate burning a timeout there. Hate it. I might take the 5 yards. Do you game mental health guy? What are you into? What are you playing? I'll start doing more game streams once the football season slows down. Definitely in the off season. A couple podcasts I'll do on here too. I got plans. I got plans. Oof. That is a tough flag. That is a real tough flag. Bradbury making a play on the ball. He's got his hand on his back. You're allowed to be in contact, but yeah, that's a tough call. Does he turn him is the question. Yeah, he does. Yeah. It's a good call. It's just a tough one. Oof, that's tough. Mental health guy, PS5 and Xbox, everything. Wow. Mostly FIFA, COD, but I play most everything that comes out. But I'm really ready for NCAA to come out. Oh my God. Me and my old college roommate loved playing NCAA football. I cannot wait for that to come back out. I literally cannot wait. I'm so psyched. I hope they don't blow it. Oh, what an interesting play call that was. Or design, I guess I should say. The call was good. Wide receiver screen that worked more like a running back screen. I really like that. Oh, that was dangerous. Incomplete pass. He did get it out, but that was. Whew. Yeah, me too, mental health guy. PS2, PS3. Those were the. I didn't play any on PS4. Maybe they were gone by then. But yeah, I still got some of the PS2 and PS3 ones. Made myself the, all kinds of. Oh, he might have been down. Made myself all kinds of build a schools, Juneau State University Sharks. Put them in Alaska. Won a national title with them. Whatever. They're gonna challenge them being down, aren't they? Yeah, he's down. Seattle took the timeout. Wow. So Seattle going for it on 4th and 2, takes a timeout to avoid the delayed game, and now you're going to get a challenge from Philly, I'm sure. So if you win this challenge as Philly, I think you got to make the challenge no matter what, right? But if you win this challenge as Philly, they're probably going to send the field goal unit out. Do you call that a win? Yeah, I mean it's a significant difference. Joe Buck giving his producer a little grief there. The call sounds better with the music under it, but an expedited review, and I think a good spot for one. I think you pull Drew Lock off the field and kick a field goal here, and that's exactly what they're going to do. 4th and 9. Yeah. Yeah, those old NCAA's. I used to play dynasties forever. We had, and then I started playing them with my college roommate because we were both into it when we got into college, and we would play dynasties, and we had like rules you had to follow, and one of them was that you had to sim all but 2 games, and or your or no 2 games and your conference championship. Um, And so you had to sim your other 10 games of the year. So you couldn't just go through and dominate and beat everybody. You had to actually build a team. And then once you did that, you had to, um, if you won a national championship, you had to leave and you could not go to a school that was higher than I think we did 1 star. Maybe it was 2. And then they switched it to grades, and so I think it was D minus or D plus was the highest that you could going to another school. And so like it was fun because back then Clemson was terrible. He turned Clemson around. Yeah, I don't know. It was a good time. So Seattle gets the field goal here, and significant to some, as Al Michaels and Scott Van Pelt would call it, because the pregame line was +5, and your boy is on Seattle +5. And so now this field goal puts it into that wonky scoring back and forth where it's 3, it's 4, it's 3, it's 4, as long as the game stays close. So an important field goal there for some. I saw an in-game line more than once that was Seattle +6.5. So see what the line is now that they've kicked the field goal. Back down to 4.5. So Seahawks +4.5 is -140. Man, you are paying for that. And then, or Seahawks +4.5. Eagles -4.5 is +105. You can get Seahawks on the money line for 375. That would not be something that I would go through, but. Mental health guy. I know the criticism for EA is warranted, but I really hope they do deliver. We are starving for this game. Listen, it's one of those things where if I'm in that boardroom, mental health guy, I'm saying don't outthink yourself here. You could put out a version of NCAA 2007 with better graphics and have one of the greatest selling games of all time. I'm dead serious. So, I should say sports games of all time. You know what I mean. I mean, obviously, those games that you can market all over the world are a little bit different, but maybe one of the best-selling American games of all time, best-selling games in the USA of all time. You don't have to outthink yourself here. It doesn't need to be fancy. You don't need to create, you don't need to make it harder or do different things or whatever. Build a really solid game with a solid season mode, a solid dynasty mode, and yeah, man, it could be just a ton of fun. Don't overdo it. Don't overthink yourself here. All right, exactly 10 minutes left in the fourth, and we got a 4-point game. Closer than I thought it was going to be as we went through the game, but following my game script that I thought pregame. Once the Eagles came out and drove that ball that first drive, I really thought, oh no, they're going to kind of go to work here. In the second drive, they went down and got a field goal. But since then, Seattle has shown up, man. See if they can get another stop here. I think the Eagles are going to have to rely on Hurts a lot. Starts off with a nice throw to Brown. Seahawks really need this game. It's so close now that you start thinking about how tough the rest of your schedule is, and you really, really have to be careful. Like, you need this game if you're Seattle. I also think you need it if you're the Eagles, just for your mental health, but mental health guy. I honestly think NCAA 07 was my favorite. Yeah, that one spent a lot of time in the console for me as well, my man. Good read by Hurts. Throw right into the blitz. It's always your rule. Hurts taking a shot. Oh, it's intercepted. Wow. Man, did Seattle need that. I don't know that Jalen Watkins is the guy that I would take that shot to. You got Devontae Smith. You got Brown, who would be my pick for taking a shot like that. I don't know why you're picking Jalen Watson to throw that, but you're saying I got one-on-one coverage. I'm just going to throw it up. I don't know. All right, our next game to talk about, Cowboys-Bills. Still here, mental health guy? Go ahead. You can tell me Josh Allen's not elite because he only had, 95 yards passing? Tell me how bad the Bills are again. What's hilarious about it is, and I know mental health guy, I have said on this stream many times, you better hope that you're not the team that's playing the Bills when they figure it out. And I got news for you. I still don't think they have it figured out. Like, there is another level that team can hit. Yesterday was just a walk in the park for them. If their defense can play like that, boy. And if they can run the ball like that, boy. Josh Allen's going to do his thing. Show me one team in the NFL that wants to play them right now. Cowboys. I don't think the away home talk is super warranted, but they got to figure out how to put out more consistent efforts. I'd argue they've been as inconsistent as the Bills for different reasons, but they just happen to pull out a couple of those games. And now the running attack from Seattle just going to grind on you. Now, if I'm Pete Carroll, the last thing I want is a 4-minute drive here, right? Like, I don't want to give them the ball back with like 3 minutes left and at best be up one score. I really want to be thinking, I kind of want to score quick here. And that doesn't mean I get away from the running game. It just means snap the ball with 15 seconds left. You know what I mean? Don't try to eat clock. Yeah, they likely do have to win out, mental health guy, but their next two games are against the Chargers and the Patriots. I, as a Bills fan, am more nervous about those two games than I am about a game against the Dolphins at the end of the year. Because if they get there and they need that game, I feel better about them in that game than the other two. Miami has games against Baltimore and Dallas coming up. And they're going to get an angry Dallas team next week and a Ravens team that likely is going to lose to the 49ers and going to be wanting to hold on to that number 1 seed next week. So, Things are very much in front of the Bills. No, they do not control their own destiny at this point, but if they win out, I think they, yes, are in. And I think that's very possible for them. They just got to keep focus, and they've looked like the better team in pretty much every game they've played this year, and they just let some of them get away. So, big hold for the Eagles defense off the turnover. And a punt that he had a ton of room. Wow. Oh. Just watching a replay of that Lockett. He was closer to catching that than I thought he was. But hey, listen, if you want to tell me Josh Allen's not elite mental health guy, this is your week to do it. I mean, what did he have, 7 completions for 90 yards or something like that? You want to make an argument, here you go. This week's the week to do it. Yeah, Indy and the Texans can win their next 2 games. Bills already tied with them. But they do have to play each other, and one of them is going to get a loss. Texans have and also a game against, God, I want to say the Browns maybe? I think it's Texans-Browns. So there's going to be a lot of incestual losses inside this AFC wildcard race. A lot of teams playing each other when they're both in it. And the Bills and the Broncos are the 2 teams that don't have games against teams that are fighting for that wild card. So it's an advantage if you can win them. You know what I mean? Oof. Big hit on Hurts. I think we know what's happening here, don't we? Hurts kind of gave up when he got to a yard away from the first down. I wonder why that is. Such a sure thing, they don't even put it on TV anymore. Wagner tried to go over the top. I've seen that work a couple times, not against the Eagles though. That's where Jalen Hurts squatting 500 pounds matters. Seattle with just one timeout, and you got to start thinking about where you're going to use that here in position with the 2-minute warning. Eagles just chewing clock here. Smart by Swift, like Joe Buck just mentioned, to stay inbounds. Nice power run by Swift. Didn't see a whole lot there. Put his head down and got 3. If this next play is a run and I'm Seattle, I think about using my first timeout. Well, my only timeout here. I take my time out here. 2:57. Make sure they have to get the next play off before the 2-minute warning. They're not. They're letting it tick. There's only one time that you can save 40 seconds on that clock, and that was it right there. They pick up the first down, you're done. So, and you save them a timeout. 2:04. Gonna get the ball back probably at your 10. One timeout. You get one play before the 2-minute warning so you can run it on first down. That's nice, actually. I really like that. Let Kenneth Walker run it on first down. See if you can get into second and manageable. You have hit the 2-minute warning, and then you're off and running on your 2-minute drive. You also, I mean, this is the field goal of death thought here. Oh, well, I didn't account for the time running off during the punt. My bad. Didn't account for the time running off the clock there. So 1:52 is going to be your actual 2-minute warning here. You're gifted fourth down, though, right? So you're down by 4. Field goal does you no good. It's touchdown or nothing. So you get 4 downs every time you're on the field. And that does make a difference in win percentage. You know what I mean? And analytics say, giving yourself that extra down does matter a lot. So, by the way, the Nuggets are just pounding the Mavericks, and I know you all care. So, let's do that. My Eagles friend fan is a mess right now, and I'm texting him. And he said, ugh. And I said, if you are a championship team, you stop a backup QB here. That's all there is to it. Right? Like, if you are a championship level team, you stop a backup quarterback. You do not let him do this to you. That's all. All right, our last game to talk about, Ravens and Jaguars. Ravens, a couple games they could have given away, but they pull out and now are 11-3 with a huge game against the Niners. 2 1 seeds playing each other. 2 teams with 11 wins, and I think I heard Joe Buck say it's only the 3rd time that's happened on Monday Night Football, so that's kind of cool. Will be a lot of fun next week for sure. The Ravens, there have been games that have been overly impressive. This wasn't one of them. I'm not overly impressed by them. I'm not afraid of them. But they just keep winning, and that's all you got to do. Held the Jaguars to 7 points. I felt like they had an opportunity for more, but you wonder how healthy Trevor Lawrence is. One of the nice things about the Jaguars losing that game, there's a lot to talk about here. But we're starting this 2-minute drive here. But one of the things that I think is important to note is those Jaguars being 8-6. That means that one that one AFC South team is going to hit its head on the ceiling here of winning the division with at least 6 losses. and that'll clear at least one team from that wild card mess. And they're all going to play each other at some point. So, mental health guy, do you watch NBA on Christmas now that the NFL plays on that day? Dude, I am all NFL, and like tonight, I've got Nuggets on in the background. I love my Nuggets. Don't get me wrong. Nice throw, nice catch. You're wasting a whole bunch of time by getting up. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'll have the Nuggets on a second screen most of the time, even when I'm streaming here. And I'll probably do some Nuggets streams after the football season. But I am a huge NFL guy. I'm all about NFL. So I will consume every National Football League game I can. I love football. Did he catch that? He did not catch that. You better go. You better go. Shut up. What a catch. Bradbury had a pick and he took it out of his arm. Bradbury had that ball in his hands, and DK Metcalf, with his arm and his thigh, took the ball out of there. What a job. Wow. Okay, so you got 1 minute, one timeout. But remember, you get 4 downs every trip down. And like I said, for those people just jumping in, my buddy is an Eagles fan, losing his mind, and I told him, if you're a championship team, you don't let a backup QB do this to you. Oh, man. Second time they almost picked the ball. Okay, if I'm in Drew Lock's ear right now, I'm telling him, remember, you do not have to get it all this down. Got two chances to pick up this first down. Oh man, he really tried to fit that in. Wow, taking a shot. Did he catch that? Get out of town. Oh my God. He got out of bounds, right? Sure did. You don't have to hustle. He got out of bounds. They didn't wind it. Oh, they did wind it. Okay, remember, you still have that timeout. I would have considered using it there if they didn't make that little snafu where they stopped it and started again. Naru towel. Yeah. Buzz Lightyear the GOAT, man. Drew Lock, let's go. Ah, couple bad throws by Drew on this drive. One of them almost cost him. Just like that, you're back in 3rd and 10. And again, if I'm talking to Drew Lock, I'm saying to him, 2 downs. You got 2 downs to pick this up. You do not have to take deep shots. It worked out for you last time. We've got a timeout. We've got 2 downs. If you pick up 5 yards here, I'm going to take my timeout. We're going to talk about this 4th down. Oh, my God. He's got him. Oh, my God. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Drew Lock. All right, so let's flip the script now. If you're the Eagles, you're down 3. You just need a field goal. You've got 28 seconds left. That is plenty of time, and I believe you have 2 timeouts. So don't lose all hope if you're an Eagles fan right now. But let's take a moment to celebrate the honey hole shot by Drew Lock to Jackson Smith and Jigba, who just on the did he catch it? Oh, did he catch it? Hold on, Towel. Oh, yeah, they're letting him go. Okay. He had it on the tips of his fingers, and it looked like he didn't quite secure it on time, but they let it go. Whoo, baby, Drew Lock. Go get him, baby boy. And, hey, listen, some people, they did not like when Drew Lock had all this swag here in Denver. Let the kids celebrate, man. I mean, you know how hard he's worked his entire life for that moment? That might be the pinnacle of his NFL career. He had a couple big games against, teams that were out of it here in Denver when Denver was out of it. Um, stuff like that. But a honey hole shot for a touchdown to take the lead on on last year's NFC champion. I mean, that's a thing to enjoy. He did clap them cheeks. Okay, 3 timeouts if you're the Eagles. Good. You got 3 timeouts if you're the Eagles left. All right, so your boy has a winning ticket, likely, with the Eagles, with the Seahawks plus 5.5. Not 100% if they go to overtime and then the Eagles score a touchdown, it'll lose, but likely a winning ticket here. So that makes me want to just put it's plus 500 Eagles on the money line right now. Did he catch that? Out of bounds. Makes me want to put just a little bit of coin on Eagles money line here. Hurts. Oh, right. Well, you've got the timeouts. So that's a big gain. You'd take that. Take that. Take the timeout. You only need a field goal here, so that puts you about 15, 20 yards away. 43 of Seattle is his career long. Conditions not ideal, but he hit a big kick against the Bills like that. I mean, listen, that's 10, 15 yards. Oh, no. Oh, no, Eagles fans. Yeah, it didn't look like he was in bounds to me, but oh man, hitting his own player helped him get out of town. Yeah, hitting his own guy kept him in bounds. He knees his own guy in the hip. I think who's that he knees? Jackson maybe? He knees his own guy in the hip and it forces his foot down to the ground after he has possession. That lets him tap his left foot. His right foot is in bounds. It's an interception, and the Eagles are going to drop their third straight. Cowboys back alive for the NFC East. Seahawks back in it for the wild card in the NFC. And mental health guy, you're absolutely right. You needed the Eagles to win this game to eliminate some competition around that wild card spot. It's now you got 4 teams there now for 2 spots, and a couple more that are knocking down the door as well. When does he get possession? He, I think, has possession there. Oh, they're saying maybe the toe didn't touch the ground. It is close. And that's it. Stands is called. Wow. God, this season is just awesome. I cannot tell you how much fun this NFL season is. Absolutely wild. Oh, Eagles fans. Now listen, the Eagles' last 3 games are easy. I think you got 2 versus the Giants, and there's Atlanta or something in there. So the Eagles can still win their last 3, and with the Cowboys losing last night, still very very winnable division. But man, that is a tough one to swallow. And you go from 10-1 to 10-4. Whew. Wow, what a game. Tough for Minnesota, tough for the Rams, tough for the Saints too, I believe. Let's get the updated standings here. I'm sure ESPN has made them updated. Um, they're pretty quick about it here. Let's see. So that moves the Cowboys back in front in the NFC East. Now, if Philly wins out, I think they end up winning the tiebreaker because they'll have a better division record than Dallas. But damn. So Philly falls back down to 5. Dallas back up to 2. Both teams at 10-4. Both teams now also tied with the Detroit Lions for that number 2 seed. And listen, if that game is if those teams have to play, if Dallas or Philly have to play Detroit in the second round, and that game is in Detroit, that's not something that we've talked about yet, but I think that makes a huge difference for Detroit's chances to win that game. If that second round divisional matchup against the Cowboys or the Eagles would take place at Ford Field in Detroit. Of course, we're assuming a lot of things there, but it's just a very interesting discussion to have. Can Detroit hop and get that 2 seed? Guess who Detroit has not this week but the week after? Dallas Cowboys. So it is very much open right now. The seeding in the NFC, seeding in the NFL is just going to be crazy. What an incredible year. I mean, really good. Mental health guy, does Philly see the writing on the wall? Is the writing on the wall that you want to talk about Jalen Hurts not being an elite quarterback? Because you spend a lot of money on my channel to tell me that Josh Allen's not an elite quarterback. So is the writing on the wall that Philly is with Sands franchise quarterback right now? I still think Philly's a good team. I think they got a little bored and full of themselves, and all of a sudden they find themselves in a really bad position. No, I think this team is good enough to win. The team has to lean on the things that it does well. And I don't think they do a great job of doing that. They've got an excellent defensive line. They've got an excellent offensive line. They need to run the ball and get pressure with 4. And those are really the 2 big things that this team needs to do. I think they can do it and get back to the dominant ways that they had early in the season. I think that I really honestly think they got bored. I think they thought they were going to walk to a 1 seed, and all of a sudden you lose 3 games in a row. Remember, San Francisco was in this situation, right? San Francisco lost 3 games in a row, and how do you feel about them now? Best team in the NFL, right? I'm not writing off Philly here. I'm not. They need to get back to what they know they can do well is really what's important. And they've got some easy games down the stretch here. It's the perfect time for you to catch fire, go 13-4 and win the division. Giants, Cardinals, Giants. I mean, you can get healthy there. First, Tommy chicken cutlets. You know what I mean? So figure out what you do well, get back to basics a little bit, know how you're going to win in playoffs, that kind of thing. Win these last 3 games, get to 13-4, get yourself a division title and some home games. And I'm not selling on the Eagles quite yet. On the flip side of that, a team that had lost 4 in a row, the Seahawks, absolutely with a backup quarterback. What a day. What a job. Unbelievable. I thought they were going to get run out of the building at the beginning. Resilient. What a game. Excellent job. Really. They've got a tough end of the schedule, if I remember right. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get back into that wild card mix. Minnesota is the 6th seed at 7-7. Mental health guy, you're still leading the pack there. Rams are the 7 seed at 7-7. Seahawks are the 8th seed at 7-7. And the Saints are the 9 seed at 7-7. Falcons and Packers right behind them at 6-8. But it's probably going to come down to those 4 teams if I had to guess. Don't forget Tampa Bay, also 7-7, but they are leading the NFC South. One of those NFC South teams will hit their head on that division and end up winning that division. So it eliminates one of those teams. But, man, what a finish we're going to have here for the NFL playoff race. It's going to be a ton of fun. All right. I will do Thursday Night Football this week, I think. Appreciate you all jumping in. Towel, come back, man. Appreciate having you in. Always fun. Mental health guy, I love having you here. Appreciate everything that you do for the channel. You guys are awesome. We'll be back Thursday night. Saints, Rams, another big game in the NFC wildcard race. We'll have that on Thursday. Night, y'all. Appreciate you.